Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Crimson Gray. In the last episode, I managed to achieve 2 different endings for the game while getting a whole bunch of game overs trying to find other ones. And long story short, I've learned that Koitek is not only still doing shady shit with their current line of products that they're signing people up for with the clinical trials. It goes into straight up full-blown conspiracy levels of serious shit, because during the path that I took in order to get the 2 endings I was able to achieve in the last episode, Mrs. Smith brought John to a warehouse, and, well, she basically showed her true colors by trying to give John orders, apparently under the belief here that the Paxitine was still affecting him, to the point where apparently he'd be more willing to listen to orders. And, well, yeah, she wanted to use John to try to bring in Lizzie here so they could try to, administer treatment on her, but I don't really think that's what they were actually going to do, but Lizzie came to my rescue, and then for some reason felt like murdering me too. So I got that ending as well. So I ended up getting that ending, and well, the other ending I was able to get was just running away with Lizzie when Lizzie suggested that we do just that here. When she voiced her concern that somebody was going to come around and take John away from her, excuse me, which was more or less proven right in the first ending path I was just explaining. And I was able to achieve the happiness ending, where John and Lizzie basically got to spend the rest of their lives together in happiness, away from Koitek and all the other stuff that has been troubling them before they left. But from that point onward, I was trying to find any other endings I could get here, but I just been having no luck with that so far. I just been getting game over after game over, trying all different combinations of choices throughout, see what would happen. And I am starting to get a little worried here. I might have to consult a guide in order to figure out exactly what set of choices I need to make in order to get these other endings I have yet to achieve. I want to try and get them on my own if possible, but if I absolutely find myself put into a corner, I'll just be upfront and honest with you guys and let you know when I use a guide to help me out at any point. But yeah, again, like I said, hopefully it won't come to that, because I just like to do this shit, figure this shit out on my own. I feel a better sense of accomplishment doing that. Wish me luck, because I'm just going to restart my game again repeatedly, just doing the exact same thing I was doing for the later half of the last episode, and hopefully I will eventually find something. Let's try more Paxitine. Shouldn't you have enough to last you through the end of the month? Well, I feel like it's not enough. Can I take a double dose? We don't recommend that. What I can do, however, is prescribe you a much stronger formulation of Paxitine. Does it sound fine? Yeah, okay. I wouldn't normally do this, but you've been responsive to the normal formulation, so hopefully this will improve your condition further. You mean make me more malleable to following orders. She gave him a new bottle of pills. They looked basically the same as the old ones, and even the label wasn't much different, but he could take whatever he could get. Within a week, he already felt different. Not better. It was as if all his emotions had been flattened into a single gray line, leaving him impervious to the world around him. In some ways, it was comforting. He never woke up too depressed to move and did his work every day. He also never woke up happy. But the longer he was on the medication, the less he cared about that. One thing that bothered him at the beginning was that his thinking seemed to have been flattened as well. Only a trickle of mundane thoughts occupied his mind. In time, that seemed like enough. She's turning you into a fucking vegetable of emotion. After all, it was easier not to think about what Lizzie had done to him, or about how she was acting more and more erratically now. John. I feel like the John I know is slipping away. You aren't going to say anything anymore, are you? Apparently not. Apparently he's that far gone. Then, it's better for our love to end like this than to just fade away. He saw her raise her knife and felt a flicker of some emotion, but it was too late. He was too tired and his world was too gray. Her knife entered his chest, and he felt that. It was the first thing he had felt in a long time. John clutched at his wound, but he couldn't stop the bleeding. Lizzie turned the knife on herself and plunged into her own chest. Leaving it there, she leaned forward and kissed him on the lips. Then she slumped over, dead before he was, as if her purpose for existing was gone. He lay there staring at her until even the cyber body faded away to nothing. Achievement unlocked. Not like this. Well, at least it's different from your standard game over. I'll take what I can get. Watch on the locker. John spent the whole day near the door, hanging out in the hallway, trying to catch a glimpse of someone missing from his locker. He didn't see anyone, but there weren't any messages either. Periodically throughout the day, he felt certain that someone was watching him, but he could never tell who. John lingered at school until he was basically the last student, seeing no one. When he finally went home, though, the sense of being watched just intensified until he went to sleep. What could have happened to give Lizzie those eyes? Was she born that way due to her mother's mistakes? Or had her mother driven that wedge between them? Her mother had looked kind in the picture, but John knew all too well that the worst parents could try to act like the most loving. When Lizzie had spoken of her mother earlier, her terms had been negative. He wondered briefly where if there could have been abuse of some kind. It was a painful thought, but maybe it would explain Lizzie's desperation for love. Or maybe she was making up bullshit. He hated it when people made up sob stories about his condition, after all. Yeah, this is all definitely different. John checked the next door, but it was locked or jammed. So instead he ambled back to the living room. Lizzie was probably almost ready. He wanted to be waiting for her when she was done. She finally emerged, wearing similar clothes that looked slightly more comfortable. John wasn't sure if he was relieved or disappointed. It wasn't lingerie, but he didn't mind seeing her dressed casually either. Lizzie smiled at his expression and came to sit beside him on the couch. I wish I would have worn a dress for our date, but I like this better. Dresses are nice, but they're uncomfortable, you know? Actually, I don't. I'm just being silly. They really are uncomfortable, though. I liked it when you look at me, whether I'm trying to be beautiful or not. It makes me happy. She slid closer to him, apparently unaware of how much of her body was touching his. No, she was probably even more aware than he was. You make me happy. I'm glad to be with you too, Lizzie. I'm so glad to hear you say that, but... Okay, I should probably mention this, but... I think largely what I've done here is that, I tried to be sweet with her at the beginning here, just, you know, smiling at her, leaving her notes and stuff like that, and just being honest with Mrs. Smith that we're dating. And when it came to the selection of drugs that I had her put on, I had her put on the Nilazine instead of the Yondequil. I know it's not too much to go on, but I honestly wasn't really paying too much attention to all my specific choices. I'm so glad to hear you say that. Maybe this is the only scene that'll be different, and I'll just end up getting another game over or something, or just another end I've already gotten, but who the fuck knows. John, I want you to stay here tonight. You mean with me? Together. 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 As the night took a sharp turn, John did his best not to panic. He had not thought the date would actually go there, much less in such an obsessive way. I'm surprised you didn't think it would go. I'm surprised you thought it would go anywhere else, to tell you the truth, but we've already long since discussed to death about your questionable thought process in general. But did he have to panic? Lizzie was usually this obsessive, and she brought it up in a most stable way. Besides, they were dating. It wouldn't be strange for them to sleep together. And yet, the look in her eyes spells danger. John? Well, we have a choice to actually sleep with her. Since I'm pretty much on the path to staying on her good side, let's sleep with her. Okay, I'll stay with you. Oh, John. Lizzie leaned even closer, kissing him gently. For the first time in a very long time, John tried to relax and just be with someone. She slid one of her legs over his, climbing into his lap and wrapping her arms around his head to deepen the kiss. A moan of pure satisfaction escaped her lips, resonating through him. You want this, don't you? God, Lizzie, don't stop. But she did, going still and holding his face with both hands so that he met her eyes. He shivered as he saw the unfair desire in her unblinking eyes. I want you, John, but I want all of you. Every last bit. I need to know you want this. Lizzie, I never met anyone like you before. I won't lie and say everything's been easy, but you're one of the only things that brings any color to my life. I can't quite say I want you. I can't quite believe you want someone like me, but if you really do, I want you. So badly. She responded with a kiss of searing intensity, then pulled back and began tugging at their clothes. When I'm done, you'll never be able to doubt it again. Lizzie drew him to the couch and caught him in another kiss, and for a time they lost themselves in each other. I found you. I found you. That was amazing. Yes, so good. I'll remember this moment forever. Oh shit. We didn't put on a condom or anything. You could get Shh. That's a very valid concern, considering that it's you who would be the mother, Lizzie. Don't shush him. She silenced him with a kiss, less intense than before, but still enough to take his breath away. You don't need to worry about that. I have an IUD. I feel like I should know what that is, but I don't. What? It doesn't matter. What it means is that we can't get pregnant unless we want to. Okay. Is it as good as a condom? No condoms. I needed to feel you. Feel you completely. Utterly. Absolutely. After a moment, he decided that he would just have to trust her. He had trusted her this far, after all. John wrapped his arms around her and held her close. They were sweaty and sticky, but Lizzie obviously didn't care. And with her resting against him so peacefully, neither did he. That night, they slept together, literally just lying in the same bed with their clothes back on. Lizzie curled up against his side, and to his surprise, he went to sleep very quickly. When he woke up the next morning, he found that she was gone, but he could smell something cooking in the kitchen. John climbed out of bed and wandered toward the kitchen. There he found Lizzie merrily humming to herself and working on several dishes at once. "Oh, Liz, you're awake. I was going to bring you breakfast in bed, but you woke up too early. Smells great." He thought he should hug her from behind or give her a kiss or something, but he felt strangely shy. Lizzie didn't seem to mind, instead urging him to sit down and relax instead of helping. It felt awkward, but with Lizzie in such a good mood, he decided not to contradict her. As she bustled around the kitchen, frequently shooting him adoring glances or kissing him on the cheek, there was no hint of instability. "Did you sleep okay? I really hope you did." Yeah, it was fine. Because I never cared about how comfortable the bed was. Then I realized it might be uncomfortable. If it was, I can get rid of it. It's okay, Lizzie. I was completely comfortable. Oh, good. I wanted everything to be perfect. I made so many plans, but then thought I might have forgotten something, and now he did get up to kiss her. It felt a little strange, but she responded with a blissful cooing noise. Breakfast was finished soon. An impressive spread of bacon, eggs, and waffles. Lizzie sat and watched him eat the first bite before she took any for herself. They only chatted lightly as they ate, as if making up for how heavy things had been before. It helped him fully wake up, though, and reassured him that Lizzie wouldn't do anything crazy, like locking you up in the basement, right? Well, do anything crazy in the near future about this. Well, at least you acknowledge that there's still plenty of opportunities for crazy later down the line. Did you like it? It tasted just as good as it smells. Oh, good. I never really cared about the taste of food, so I was afraid I hadn't done a good job. You just didn't care about taste? It never seemed to matter, but the breakfast tasted good because I was eating it with you, John. I'm glad, but sorry, I have to go back a second there. You didn't really enjoy food? That's kind of sad. I wasn't sad. I wasn't really. But that's not important right now. We can talk about it later. He considered pressing, but decided against it. After all, he hated it when people harassed him about details of his condition. If Lizzie was working through her problems, he wanted to be helpful, and that meant backing off sometimes. So, I'd like to spend the entire vacation with you. Like, every single day. But maybe you want some space, too? Well, it's okay. Really. But, can I walk with you to the bus stop? Of course. She did walk with him, holding his hand almost shyly. It seemed bizarre that she could be acting shy after they'd had sex, but John decided that it made sense. She showed a pattern of getting closer, then retreating for a while. He found that depression and energy came in waves as well, and it was better to ride them out instead of fighting the trends. Besides, maybe distance would do her a little good too. When they reached the stop, she let go of his hand, but grasped his sleeve to keep him there. You liked it, right? Liked what? Everything? Our date, and breakfast, and last night. Yeah, I did. You're incredible, Lizzie. I still can't believe you're interested in me. And I don't scare you, do I? Do you want me to change? He stared at her for a moment, trying to decide what kind of question that was, then eventually shrugged. You seem just fine to me. Is everything alright? It is now. I actually stopped taking the Neosekken the day before our date. Okay. Urge her to take it again. Object to choice. Don't argue. I'm not sure which choice to go with here. I think I'll just accept her choice. Oh. Well, you seem to have been better for several days. I guess maybe you didn't need it after all. Sorry for making you take it. No, it was helpful. I saw things a little clearer, but I think I've had enough. It's nothing like my condition, but I guess you know yourself best. I'm glad it helped then. Oh, whoops. I just wanted to let you know. You don't need to be worried about me. I know you're mine now. Not exactly a comforting statement, but it seemed clear that Lizzie was doing her best to be reassuring. She looked at him so earnestly, he couldn't bring himself to do anything but agree. Thanks, Lizzie. Let's take care of our homework. Then we can spend more time together later in the vacation, okay? Okay. See you soon, John. And there she goes. After watching her go for a little while, he got on and headed back home. Without her constant energy beside him, he felt a lot more subdued, but didn't slide into depression. John still wasn't sure how he felt about everything. He was happy, that was obvious, but he wondered just how stable Lizzie really was. Could things have gone very differently under different circumstances? Oh yeah. But they didn't, so he couldn't waste energy worrying about it. For now, he was happy to return home and slide into a normal routine for a while. He spent the rest of Saturday working on assignments he'd been given for the vacation. It was nothing too bad, but combined with chores around the house, he didn't get everything done. His father called once to say that he was headed on a surprise company vacation. That was just as well. The house felt awkward with him around. As John went to sleep that night, he decided that he would spend Sunday finishing his homework, or maybe even hanging out with someone else. Then he'd call Lizzie to get together Monday. It seemed like an appropriate length of time to wait. Despite his concerns, she really did seem content. His concerns, excuse me. If she could wait until Monday, maybe he could put his worries behind him. Then Sunday morning he woke up feeling like shit. He knew his plans were already in the trash. He wanted to just lie there. No, he wanted to die, but he didn't have the strength to even contemplate that. And so he just lay in bed. But today he couldn't lie there forever. A strange surge of motivation struck him and he managed to crawl over to the phone and call Lizzie's number. Hello? She picked up on the very first ring, but was too depressed to think much about that. Lizzie, Good morning, John. It's not. I'm having a bad day. I'll be crappy company, but if you... I'll come right over. He didn't even hang up the phone, just curled up on the floor beside it. It felt like an eternity lying there, but it couldn't have been long before Lizzie arrived at the house. She immediately made him get up and eat something, urging him on with boundless energy. Now he had to move a little, just to avoid disappointing her. After an hour, he wasn't feeling like doing anything, but he managed to force himself to go outside on the assumption that it would help. And it did. For once in his life, he managed to do what Mrs. Smith had told him to, and socialize instead of withdrawing into himself. To his surprise, it actually helped. By the end of the day, he actually felt better. He hadn't believed that a morning like that could be redeemed, yet somehow Lizzie had turned it around. Lizzie seemed happy the entire day, but she wasn't insensitive to him. Once he had the mental energy for it, he reflected that she had tempered her enthusiasm to his current mood, always encouraging him just enough. And when he got tired near the end of the day, she noticed and actually left of her own volition. He even managed to do some work and not feel shitty before going to sleep, thinking he had the best girlfriend in the world. The rest of the vacation passed in a peaceful enough blur. On their last weekend before they had to go back to school, he ended up back at Lizzie's house. They watched a movie on her large but incredibly dusty TV, and now just sat together on the couch. This was nice, John. Yeah, it really was. I wish we never had to go back to school. We'd be together like this every single day. Well, we'll eventually graduate. Then there's no more school. That sounds nice. Though, I suppose there will be work. Oh yeah, there will be work, John. You never really get a vacation until you retire, I guess. I wonder how I do with retirement. Some days it feels like my routines are all that keep me going. Don't worry, I'll take care of you. Just like I've taken care of everything this vacation. It has been a lot better than usual. Thank you, Lizzie. No, thank you. This has been wonderful. John, do you want to have sex again? Well, John, do you want to stick your dick in crazy some more? Let's agree. Sure, we can if you want. And if I don't want? Huh? Last time, it was too much for me, I think. I can't handle so much emotion at once. I want to be with you again. I want it so badly. But maybe it would be better to wait. Like until we're married? Oh my, no. No, we can't get married in school. So that would be forever. I can't wait that long. But let's wait a little longer, okay? Let me get used to having you so close first. I think I understand. Of course, Lizzie, we can wait. I knew I made the right choice asking you. I really like how not homicidal she's been so far on this new route I've apparently found myself on. Too bad it's not quite enough to make me forget that she's murderously insane. Lizzie snuggled up against him, which admittedly did bring sex to mind, but he was also happy just to hold her close. think this will be better. For the long term. It used to be I couldn't think so far ahead. Everything just ended when it reached you. But now that I have you, I'm starting to think further into the future. I want us to have each other forever and ever. Since he didn't have a good answer to that, John just held her a little closer. He lay her head against his chest, and he kissed her on top of it gently. They stayed there for a little while, and for a moment he was only happy, but then the gears in his brain began turning again. Fortunately, they took him to something other than a mire of depression. I think you were capable of planning before, though. I mean, you got an IUD, that requires a lot of planning. At first, before I'd met you, I could hardly ever bear to imagine anything beyond that meeting. But then, when you actually noticed me, actually cared for me, I started thinking a little more. I knew you always worried and got sad, so I wanted to prepare that you would focus entirely on me. That was just a simple fragment of a plan, though. My plans then were very strange, like tying me up into a basement if something went wrong. Strange? Strange how? Lizzie giggled cheerfully and shook her head against his chest. Don't worry about it. They don't matter now. We can make new plans. Together. Sitting there with her, that sounded pretty good. Maybe everything would work out after all. Who the fuck knows, man? Several days later, John was assigned a female lab partner in his science class. Oh shit. Lizzie's gonna get jelly. She was an okay match. He didn't know her very well, but he had always seemed compassionate about his depression. They worked together fine, just completed their assigned experiments and finished class. But when he stepped outside, he spotted Lizzie watching him and gnawing on her fingers. No, not watching him. Watching his classmate. Well, shit. You think, John? Well, shit indeed. The next day, he made sure to invite Lizzie to eat lunch with him in the forest in their usual spot. She came, but didn't bring any lunch. For him or for herself. They grabbed food from the cafeteria instead, but the mood remained strange. Are you doing okay, Lizzie? John, you love me, right? Of course I do. Good. Do we need to talk about my new lab partner? Because I didn't ask for a change. The teacher just... No. No, there's no need to talk about her. Ever again. John. Seriously, Lizzie, chill. She's just my lab partner. This was obviously not getting him anywhere. While chewing on his sandwich, John tried to think of something to get her mind off the subject. Start a conversation about her interests, start a conversation about romance. Let's try your peers. Lizzie, I was wondering, who was that girl I saw of you last week? Lizzie fidgeted for a bit, but then seemed to focus on his words and shook her head. Okay, this dialogue looks the same. The rest of lunch, Lizzie opened up more about her thoughts on people at school. Okay, this looks the same too. Given how well the conversation went, he could almost think that everything was better. But a dark part of his mind told him that could never be that easy. You should listen to that dark part of your mind. It knows shit. It understands what's going on. As if fate wanted to taunt him, the entire week was scheduled to be lab assignments. His classmate did her fair share and was friendly enough, so it would have been easy, if not for Lizzie. He couldn't spot her anymore, but he was sure she was watching. It's possible that she became better at hiding herself. Probably hiding in a cardboard box. You here with me, John? Sorry. My head is in the clouds. What am I missing? Nothing, we're done. I was saying good job, but you didn't seem to hear it all. I didn't, sorry. I've been distracted lately. No big deal. Hey, can I ask you a question now? It better not be, are you dating someone or anything similar to that effect here, because somehow I bet Lizzie's got ears in this classroom right now, and showing any kind of romantic interest in me at all would be a very bad idea. You and Lizzie are dating, right? Asking if she and I are dating into your female is also a bad idea. Lizzie would probably also negatively misinterpret this. Yeah. What's she like? I tried to get to know her once, but it's like she's not even on the same planet. I'm surprised she found anyone. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy for her. I'm just a little curious is all. Say romantic things about Lizzie, say positive things about Lizzie, say very little about Lizzie, say negative things about Lizzie. Warn the lab partner to avoid Lizzie. I like how I can warn her. Let's say romantic things. She's the best girlfriend I could ever ask for. Do you think she's listening or something? Is she? I mean, no. She's honestly just a sweet and caring person. I'm glad to hear that. I wanted to believe good things about her. Anyway, I was just asking out of curiosity. Maybe our high school only has one lost cause now. Lost cause? Girls who none of us can get together with, I mean. But if Lizzie has a boyfriend, I guess that excludes her from the category. So, who's left? It's not me, is it? No. It's another girl in her year. I forgot her name now. Let me guess. It's the other girl that goes homicidal in the other route. Actually, she may be dating one of your friends right now. Then why is she still a lost cause? As near as I can tell, she regularly gets really obsessed with a boy, but it never lasts. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw this much gossip at you. That's okay. Anyway, you head to your locker too? We should have been walking while we talked, now that I think about it. No, I have to stay here to do something. Alright, see ya. Being seen walking around her would have been even worse, from Lizzie's perspective. John wondered if he'd already made a mistake talking to her that long, but it was too late to change now. Would Lizzie really spend her entire life being that jealous of him? Possible. She's not exactly sound of mind, as I won't let you forget. For now, he didn't have the strength for multiple relationships, so it didn't matter much, but later in life, he'd want to have friends too. Or was it just women that bothered her? Asking directly probably wouldn't help, but he could... Hello, Lizzie? Lizzie was staying directly behind him. Hey, Lizzie. How are you? John. You're not gonna branch a knife on me or anybody, are you? Did something bad happen? I wish you wouldn't talk to her. You don't think she's really trying to steal me, do you? But she is. She wants to steal your time. Every single day. What? Do you just get upset anytime anyone talks to me? Lizzie, I love you. Only you. Thank you, John. I think I always need to hear you say that. Then allow me to get you a little tape recorder that I'll just tape to the back of your head and just have it on repeat saying, Lizzie, I love you, 24/7. I think that should suffice, right? So, no more problems? Okay. Just don't smile at her so much. I'll do my best. But seriously, I wouldn't be smiling at anyone if not for you. With that, Lizzie slipped out of the room again. John felt as though he should stop her, but it was already too late. He took a deep breath and rubbed his eyes. Hopefully this would be just an annoyance, not an actual problem. With Lizzie, it was hard to tell, but she hadn't done anything dangerous since the tree. Next, John had another session scheduled with Mrs. Smith, so he grabbed his books and headed to her office. He found Mrs. Smith in the middle of her work as usual. Today seemed heavier than normal. John, there you are. Mind if we jump straight to business today? Sure, that's fine. Jumping straight to business. This can't be good. Before he could stop himself, he'd already agreed with her. John sighed and gave up as he lay down on the couch. This was the one day he actually wanted to discuss more with her, but it was easy for him to fold when others were forceful. At least the therapy session made him feel a little better. It was like a low hum in the back of his mind, drowning out everything else and giving him plenty of time to think through exactly what he wanted to do. There were two questions. If there was anything he could do to help Lizzie, and if he needed to do anything to protect others from her. It was a knotty issue, but by the end of the therapy session, as he got up to leave, he felt like he had his answer. Asked Miss Smith if there's any way to prevent violence, leave without saying anything, asked Mrs. Smith how to stabilize a person. Let's go with stable. Mrs. Smith, hypothetically, if someone had an obsessive-compulsive disorder, how could you help them? Well, Koitek has. Yes, I know Koitek has something. Other than medicine. Say they're already taking it. What else? Well, obsessions are usually shaped by exposure to the object of the obsession. So, for example, if someone has arachnophobia, you'd start by exposing them to pictures of spiders in safe contexts. Slowly work up to greater exposure. If by greater exposure you mean like touching a goddamn spider, then no, fuck that. If someone is obsessed with something, then it's often all about the feedback loop. Maybe it would be better for them to avoid it entirely, or maybe expose them to it in small, controlled doses. What's this about anyway? Just been reading about it in class lately. Thanks, Mrs. Smith. Outside Mrs. Smith's office, John shook his head and tried to refocus. He wasn't sure how much of a threat Lizzie might be. Maybe what he needed to do was turn her own trick back on her. For the next several days, John stalked Lizzie through her routine. Part of her routine was stalking him, so that made things strange pretty quickly, but he made sure to keep an eye on her. Now the tables have turned. She went about doing normal things, but he lost track of her during most classes. And after observing closely, John realized that she tended to disappear during free periods as well. One day, he spotted her slipping away and followed. She headed to an empty classroom right next to the cafeteria. She has that look on her face. Lizzie. Ha! Oh, John. I didn't expect to see you here. What is that beaker you're holding? Just a chemistry project we're working on. I don't believe you. They let you take one of the beakers out of the lab? With chemicals in it? Raise the issue bluntly, raise the issue indirectly, raise the issue... This might lead me to a wrong end, but let's go to bluntly. I don't want you to kill her. Huh. You're my girlfriend. She's just someone in the same class. There's no competition between you. I don't like how she looks at you. Seriously? She wouldn't dream of dating me. She's just being friendly. I don't like that either. Well, we don't have a choice. But if you just wait and don't hurt her, she'll go to a different class soon and then she'll be gone. If you do try to hurt her, it will only cause problems. It can only make something come between us. You understand? Well, that's all I had to say. I'll trust you not to do anything unwise, Lizzie. Do you trust me? Of course, John. I trust you completely. Good. Let's schedule another date for sometime soon, okay? Okay. She smiled at him adoringly as he left. John felt better about the situation until he got home, and his mood crashed. He honestly had no idea if it was a premonition or just depression. I vote premonition. Either way, he went to sleep and stopped thinking for a while. Several days passed without incident, and several weeks. Eventually he began to relax and trust that Lizzie really wasn't going to harm anyone. He did manage to get his lab partner reassigned. It felt incredibly awkward to reject a nice girl like that. They tried to make excuses that he couldn't keep up with her. He thought she chalked it up to depression. Losing a decent lab partner was no big deal. He was happy to do it to keep Lizzie. Not to mention possibly avoiding a murder. That's definitely the best part, if you ask me. But in the future, he worried that could be a real problem. Still, as time passed with no incidents, he began to think that it had been entirely his imagination. Until one day at lunch. What happened at lunch, Lizzie? Something on your mind, Lizzie? Would you still have loved me if I killed her? Whoa, that's a heavy question to spring on someone. Honestly, I can't say for certain since it didn't happen, but I still think I love you. But I think I'd still love you. You don't hurt people for malicious reasons. In the end, you're doing what you think is necessary for my sake. John. Murdering someone out of petty jealousy is pretty fucking malicious by most people's standards. It certainly is to me, anyway. I love how dedicated you are to things. I can never stick with anything. Okay. Is it okay? You still seem upset. Okay, switch to a personal subject, switch to a happy subject, speculate about why she's upset. Make sure she doesn't plan to hurt anyone. Let's speculate. Are you asking because you killed someone? Yes. Why? In elementary school, the other girls were usually mean to me because I wouldn't play with them. But I didn't care, so eventually they ignored me. Except for one girl. She would come and hurt me every day at recess. She would do it to make the other children laugh. It's awful. Why didn't the teachers do anything? I don't know. I didn't care. I just can't believe they would let something like that happen to children. I had never reflected on it, but looking back now, I think I understand why. Abby came to a parent-teacher conference drunk. She shouted at the teachers. After that, they were convinced I was a problem child from a problem family. That's still horrible of them. John is so kind, but the world is not. I ignored the girl for a while, but she didn't stop. I couldn't be alone. That dumb girl really had no idea what kind of dragon she was bullying. So one day, when her class went on a trip, I pushed her off an edge. Murdering even as early as elementary school. Holy shit. You aren't going to go on? You don't want to hear the details. You shouldn't have to hear them. She was a meaningless person. But she died. Yes. I made sure it looked like an accident. They thought I was a problem child, but they didn't understand how well I could lie. I see. Does this mean John hates me? Well, I certainly wouldn't condone what you did. Holy shit. No, not at all. I mean, it's serious, but, John, I had no idea you went through that kind of thing. I feel so awful for saying what I did earlier. I wasn't trying to accuse you or make you feel bad. John! Just because some little brat was bullying her in elementary school, that doesn't give somebody excuse to freaking murder them. That is overkill. May I hug you? Of course. Come here. She rushed to him quickly and held on tight. John stroked her hair and tried to come to terms with what he'd been told. John is so kind. I'm so happy you'll still hold me like this. Always. He wasn't sure if it was true, but the moment he said it, it felt true. You handled this probably better than I would have in your situation. You are something special. Like, holy shit. Okay, so he and Lizzie managed to act almost like normal boyfriend and girlfriend. The occasional romantic date seemed to go a long way toward keeping her calm. The sky still looked very gray to him, but he felt lighter than he had in a long time. On occasion, there's going to the library. Eventually he sat back and just shook his head. Maybe we're not going to learn anything. Would that be bad? Maybe it's not. I've always wanted answers, explanations, a way to put things together. But when I got depressed, that didn't work. Chemicals and social structures and trends. None of that really explained it. Things just happen. Maybe this is like that. Maybe we don't need to worry about exact answers. We can just live our lives. I think that's a good way to think about it. Actually, that reminds me of something I've been wanting to ask you. The county fair is coming up, so Okay. Let's go ahead and do the county fair. Was that what Lizzie had been meaning to imply? She'd been more physically affectionate ever since they'd had sex at her house. Never tried to take things that far again. But over the next several days, she didn't act any differently, and just seemed to look forward to it with innocent anticipation. So it felt awkward to bring it up. And the longer he didn't mention it, the stranger it got, so this looks the same. Lizzie met him at the edge of the fair, shifting from foot to foot eagerly. Her face lit up when she saw him, and she immediately hurried to meet him. Oh, you're finally here. This is going to be so much fun. Yeah, as long as your associate doesn't peel her boyfriend's face off. I'm glad to spend time with you, but honestly I haven't gone to the fair in a few years. We can find something fun. Okay. It's not giving me the option to skip, but I've seen all this dialogue before. Ears on every side. Experience was a little disorienting as far as you could tell. It was just a simple maze. As he got deeper into it, though... Wait, did I skip? And if their relationship had unique problems, hell, couples had broken up over so much more trivial things than he had just been through. At the fairgrounds, starting to get more crowd, Lizzie decided they should try one of the attractions. She dragged him to the House of Mirrors, which struck him as a strange choice. Okay, and as he got deeper into it, though, there started being more mirrors than that intentionally twisted his shape into a distorted version of himself. Strange, but not overwhelming. That was the moment when he realized Lizzie was no longer with him. His first response was actually a moment of panic. As if she had gotten lost, when in fact she was much more capable of taking care of herself than he was. Lizzie? How the hell had she disappeared like that? All kinds of different pathways were reflected in the maze. He made sure he was sure he would have seen her leave. It was almost she just stepped into one of the mirrors and vanished. It was actually starting to make him uncomfortable. John? Lizzie? Where'd you go? This way. Come find me. John stumbled through the House of Mirrors, following her giggles. Where the heck was she? Had she gone outside the maze somehow? Given who she was, he should have been more nervous. Yet he found that he was calm. You should be nervous, you fool! Her laughter was playful, not crazed or vicious. Yoink! Without warning, Lizzie somehow popped up behind him and tugged him backward. Though what he had thought wasn't through what he thought was a normal wall. A door swung closed behind them. A secret door? He realized that it was inside a mirrored room with no other exit. This House of Mirrors was apparently more complex than he thought, if it had a hidden room. So, how did you know about this hidden room? Isn't this place neat? I found another secret passage, too. Wow, that didn't take you long. She had grabbed him from behind and hadn't let go, so he became increasingly conscious of how she was pressed against his back. God, she was so soft. Excuse me. John, I'm so happy you came here with me. Lizzie, I know being with me can be hard on you, but you never given up on me. I want to do something for you now, John. Is that okay? He swallowed and turned her arms to kiss her. She kissed back. When he put his arms around her, she slipped out of them straight down, putting at her crotch level. Somehow I had a feeling it was going to turn to sex. Just let me be a normal girlfriend for a little while, okay? I promise you'll enjoy it. John wasn't sure if this was really all that normal, but then she was unzipping his pants, and all his thoughts flew away. He leaned back against the mirrors, needing a moment to catch his breath. Lizzie seemed to have no trouble, fixing her shirt and then coming to give him a hug. Wow, that felt amazing. Good. I liked it too. Maybe we can do more of this sometime. He liked that idea, but for now he felt too relaxed. Lizzie took his hand and led him out of the maze effortlessly. Outside, the fair seemed far too loud and bright. It took him a second to even notice that someone was snickering at him. Are you fucking serious? You came here to play around in the House of Mirrors? One of his classmates was there with his girlfriend, pawing at her chest while she giggled and swatted at his hands. Well, you're about to be dead in minutes, so enjoy yourself while you can. They both leered at John and Lizzie holding hands. I mean, what are you, 12? Once, taunts might have bothered him, but now, John didn't care. He didn't even have any desire to prove that his friend was wrong. When he thought about what Lizzie had done for him, he felt her squeeze his hand. He just didn't care. Come on, let's ditch these losers. His classmate's girlfriend led them away, and John didn't really care about that either. He gave Lizzie a smile, but she seemed slightly distant. Had the encounter bothered her more than him? He had hoped that she wasn't getting any dangerous urges again. Yet Lizzie didn't say anything, instead letting him take her toward one of the food lines. But after they had been in line for only a short while, she slid closer to him and spoke softly. John, if you don't want me to kill, do you not want others to kill either? What are you talking about? If I knew something, and I could stop it, do you want me to? You know she's gonna kill that guy, don't you? That would explain that look in your eyes. Yes, of course. Lizzie, is something wrong? Then we have to go. She gripped his hand tightly and dragged him out of the line. There was a strange look in her eyes as she took him across the fairground, occasionally stopping to look for something, then shaking her head. He decided to just trust her, and trust that she would explain eventually. They headed to the edge of the fairground, where there were some basic warehouses. Stay here. She let go of his hand and moved into the alley between the two of them, but John wasn't going to be left alone. He followed her and froze. His classmate lay sprawled on the ground, his chest torn open. Well, it's already too late to save your sorry ass. The sight made John sick, but before he could look away to vomit, he saw that his classmate's pants were down around his ankles. Wow, you're into some really dark, kinky shit, I see. The laugh made him look up toward the grisly scene again and spot his classmate's girlfriend. She stood over his body with a box cutter, utterly covered in blood. You're mine now. All mine. Without warning, the girl turned to them, eyes burning. And you can't have him! She let out another low laugh as her gaze focused on Lizzie. He's mine! Mine, mine, mine! I don't want him. You need to get control, or mine forever! The girl lunged at them, moving with jerky, erratic footsteps that still closed the gap between them in a flash. Yet while John was still flinching, Lizzie reacted. In a single smooth movement, she knocked away the box cutter and spun the girl to the ground, ending up with her knee dug into her back. While the other girl thrashed and wailed, Lizzie gripped her hair and pulled her head up into a submission hold. Be quiet. I'll kill you, you slut! You bitch! I'll tear you apart and bathe in your entrails and... Lizzie slit the girl's throat. Well, you've already failed to not kill anyone else. Literally minutes after asking John if he would object to you killing anybody. Good job, Lizzie. John could only stare, utterly in shock, as the girl bled out, the insanity slowly leaving her eyes. Lizzie looked up at him sadly. I'm sorry, John. She really would have been a threat to you. What is going on? Was she... like me? No, not truly. I disagree. As she spoke, Lizzie calmly got to her feet, careful not to get blood on herself. She examined her knife, then took out a cloth to wipe it off carefully. She was broken. Even more broken than I was before I found you. There aren't a whole lot more, are there? She was the only other one I knew of, but we didn't exactly talk. Oh God. What had happened caught up to him in a rush, and he found himself hyperventilating, stumbling back against the side of the warehouse. But before he could panic too much, Lizzie slipped up in front of him and kissed him gently. John, please run away with me. We need to leave before they're found. Just run away? Can we do that? Well, you better hope you didn't leave any forensic evidence lying around, cause otherwise you're screwed either way. We can. It's our only hope. The logistics of it dizzied him. He wasn't even sure exactly what he was agreeing to. He couldn't think of with the two corpses lying so close by. After seeing Lizzie murder someone so coldly, no, he couldn't do it. John shuddered and took a step away from her. I can't. John, please don't be afraid. You just slit her throat. You didn't even feel anything. You're afraid, John. And confused. Let me take care of you. Before he could protest, she slipped a foul-smelling rag over his mouth. He struggled uselessly until his world fell away. Oh shit. By the time they woke up, they were far from the fairground. Lizzie had already gathered most of the things they owned and taken them out of the city. He didn't know where she had gone in the car. Probably stole and hotwired it. Didn't know what her plans were. Didn't do anything but rock back and forth and try to breathe. When they stopped, Lizzie came to the back seat and kissed him gently, before snuggling up against him. He shivered, but he held her close. In the years ahead, they moved into a new town. He relied entirely on Lizzie, as she gave him a new identity, found him a job, and played supportive housewife. Sometimes he thought about running or disobeying her, but whenever he did, his mind flashed back to the image of Lizzie calmly slitting the other girl's throat. And he became more and more withdrawn. As he became more and more withdrawn, he thought he saw sadness in Lizzie's eyes, but didn't care. Every night they slept in the same bed, sometimes having sex and sometimes Lizzie just whispering into his ear. His world grew in more gray until there was nothing left. Okay, so that was a game over. Achievement unlocked, Caretaker. Hope glimmers stronger on another path. Restart the game for a better result. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut things off here. We can continue looking for the other endings I still need to get in the next episode. I'm glad I managed to get this one. At least I have a general idea of what I need to do to probably find the other ones I haven't found yet, so it probably shouldn't take me too much more effort to find the rest of them. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Crimson Gray. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.